Hello, everybody, and welcome into our next video for News and Rumors, Montreal Canadiens. We're covering in this one. I got Ryan here, who, of course, covers the Canadiens, and with season preview, we also went through that too. We got the season just around the corner, actually happening tonight as we're finally the season going to start. And it seems like the Canadiens always play against the Maple Leafs to start the season, so that's what's going to happen there. But this one, we're going to talk about the opening night lineup, opening night roster, what they're going to roll out against the Maple Leafs. Ryan, how's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Doing great. Season started as we already 1 day into the season now, but most of the teams played either today or tomorrow. Because tomorrow there's a ton of games on, and the Canadiens also play again right away. So they're going to get 2 games off the bat really quickly. So we'll start talking about their forward group, which opens the season. And this one, I mean, this is the lines from practice, not this morning, but yesterday. What do you think about the forward group going into this season? Biggest one I see here is Patrick Laine on the 4th line. I mean, what are you looking at with this opening night lineup here?
Well, I mean, they started training camp with a line made up of Doc, Laine, and Demidov. So right off the bat, I didn't really feel as though that line was going to work. So I'm not entirely shocked that they split them up. Maybe more so shocked that they're each member of that makeshift line is now on their own line. Yeah. But Laine on the 4th line is kind of how last season kind of ended, and he was in a bottom 6 role with getting as a power play specialist. His lack of mobility and lack of defensive awareness kind of made that almost a necessity. So I'm not 100% shocked, more so disappointed. But it is what it is. I feel like Laine will still get his looks on the power play, and I still believe him to be a legitimate offensive threat on this team. As for the rest of the lines, I mean, the first line is no shock. That's what's been together for the most part of the last 2 seasons. Kapanen effectively, it depends on which line you see as the number 2 line. For me, it's whatever line has Demidov on it because he has the most offense potential. So to have Kapanen center that line is a big vote of confidence for him as a second-year forward. And I'm not sure if it will last, but if they don't believe Doc is the guy to center Demidov, I don't think there's another alternative other than Kapanen based on the players they cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I mean, you're looking at, that second line with Bolduc and Kirby Dach, which is great because Kirby Dach is actually going to be in the lineup, barring anything really happening in practice. But I mean, it looks like he's going to start the season, which is great. I mean, he did start the season last season as well, right? He got hurt a little after that.
He started the last few seasons. It's finishing the season that's been there.
Right. It's getting hurt. It's getting hurt during the season, which is.
I say that with all due respect to Doc, obviously. Like he's a linchpin for this offense. I feel like if they can get him going, then there will be no stopping the Canadiens.
For sure. And I mean, when you're looking at that, especially if he can stay healthy, mostly like we talked about in the season preview as well. We'll see. That's going to be something to monitor for sure. And then looking at, I mean, that's 3rd line, if you want to quote unquote 3rd line. And Demidov, I think, yeah, I do agree. I think he's more of a top 6. But it seems like a lot of teams is top 9 now. I mean, you need 9 forwards that can score. And even looking at that 4th line, I mean, that has potential of getting some offense as well. I mean, Josh Anderson hasn't been as productive as he used to be, but you're looking at 2 guys that can score goals. And Evans has been a pretty good bottom 6 guy as well. So, I mean, that's a pretty good 4 lines to start. One notable absence is Joe Veleno. What do you think about him? I mean, he's an extra forward, of course, going into the season. But do you see that maybe he should have been in the lineup here? But I mean, I guess who do you replace if he does go in?
I mean, I'm fair. I think we've talked about Veleno before.
Yeah.
I'm fairly high on his potential as a former first-round pick who's just 25. I think last time we discussed how it didn't look like he'd ever really or consistently been put in a position to succeed offensively. So I'm not shocked by him being left off, but I do believe there is potential for him to move into a regular lineup spot with injuries. Of course, ideally they don't happen, but they realistically will. I don't necessarily think the Canadiens want him to be a second line center because it's just, it would kind of point to a lot going wrong if he's given that opportunity. But I also feel like if Doc doesn't work out, if Kapanen doesn't work out, he could be maybe solution. It just, if anyone is going to, in my opinion, extract the most out of Veleno, it's probably Demidov. But that also goes for Kapanen and Doc too. So yeah, I'm not surprised by Veleno being left off, but I also don't think this is the last we've seen of him.
For sure. Like, he is on the roster. He's just the extra forward. I mean, right now. I mean, he could be in the next game as well. So we'll see how it all kind of plays out. He's still on the team. It's just he probably won't be playing opening night. All right, looking at the defense, and this is Noah Dobson, Mike Matheson, top pairing, and Caden Gooley and Lane Hutson being the second pairing there. Do you really see him? Is this just on paper as that being the top pairing, or do you see it kind of a flip-flop with that top four? I mean, otherwise, it's not really a surprise of who actually made the team. It's just who's kind of slotted in right now.
I mean, like, obviously, Gooley Hutson could be the top pairing, but they were a pairing for the end of last year into the playoffs, and they were a pairing in whom Martin St. Louis displayed a lot of confidence and trust. But I don't think the fact that they have Matheson and Dobson as the quote-unquote top pairing is a shock by any stretch, just by virtue of Matheson, I believe, having led the team in ice time last year. So he's that veteran presence who's only 31 years of age. He's still got years left, and 2 years removed of a career high 62-point season. And of course, they did just acquire Dobson in the offseason as a potential top pairing defenseman. They're paying him $9 million a year. Is that $9 million a year? Yes, $9.5 million a year to Dobson. So they're paying him the money to, eat a lot of minutes, produce a lot of points. Matheson will help do that. Now, I'll readily admit, in my early offseason analysis or preview of the season, just in my own head, I envisioned Gooley playing with Dobson, Hutson playing with Jaden Struble, who you don't show here, but he's the extra defenseman on the roster, because Hutson and Struble put together a very effective pairing last season in their relatively limited time together. But it just seemed like a good way to add depth to the lineup and drive Matheson down to the third pairing, at which point he could potentially exploit other teams' bottom of the lineups. But this makes sense just by virtue of, because you want to get Jack Guy in there, in my opinion, and you want to be able to commit to him as a regular presence in this lineup, just because it's something that they against Washington Capitals last spring, Jack Guy's insertion into the lineup for Game 3 after he had missed a lot of time as a healthy scratch to end last season into the playoffs, that gave them some life, some confidence, I believe, and they came away with their only win of the series with a 6-3 decisive victory. So I think what you're showing right now maybe makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Struble, like you said, is the extra defenseman. He probably will, again, slot in at some point. I mean, he played like you said, played really well with Hutson. So there could be a time, but you're looking at those 6 guys, and that's, I mean, Arbor Xhekaj may shift to being that 7th defenseman at some point too. And Struble comes into the lineup. So we'll see how that all goes. And it looks like this is how they're going to start the season against the Maple Leafs. But we'll see beyond that what happens. All right. Looking at now the rest of, I mean, of course, the goaltending we don't really need to talk about. The 2 guys that we thought were going to make the team obviously did. And that's Montembeault and Dobish. We were talking about the 3rd goaltender, what's that going to happen there, but that never actually materialized. It was Dobish. We knew that was probably going to be, he's going to be the backup to start the season. So, all right, well, let's look now into the only real big news that's really happened is Lane Hutson looking at an extension. Now, he hasn't signed one yet. There has been talk. Do you see it happening soon, or is that something that might happen maybe during the season or not at all, and we wait further and maybe until next off season? But there has been talk. What do you think about Lane Hutson maybe extending at some point here?
I don't think Kent Hughes will wait until the off season. I don't think he wants it to get that close where an offer sheet will most certainly materialize. So based on the fact that Uri Slafkovsky and Nick Suzuki under Marc Bergevin and I believe Cole Caulfield all signed their extensions fairly soon, fairly early in the season. I envision Kent Hughes doing similar with Hutson, especially seeing as you've got all these other contract comparables emerging. So like Luke Hughes with the New Jersey Devils, and Jackson McComb with the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, those are big numbers too. And then I know they were talking with Luke Hughes of how it's going to affect Lane Hutson's extension. We'll see if it does, but we'll see how long it'll be. I mean, I know there was talks that they're kind of stepping back from it right now, according to our News and Rumors column that goes out every day. So I mean, we'll see if it might go into the season a bit. But I do agree. I think they will probably sign him before the offseason. You want to get that done so it's not hanging over everyone and it starts becoming a little bit of a distraction. So we'll see what he ultimately signs. But I think he's worth at least what Luke Hughes got, especially if he has another season like he did in his Calder Trophy year, right? So, and I really don't think he will regress too much. Because he's still going to get prime power play minutes. We'll see where that kind of goes with Noah Dobson coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I think I may be wrong, but I've personally always envisioned or saw Noah Dobson's contract as the one that should have the most impact on what Hutson will make. Just because, their circumstances are slightly different, and that Noah Dobson is under his 3rd contract, and Hutson would be signing a sophomore deal. But again, if you look at the fact that Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slafkovsky all got rich extensions for their 2nd contracts, it just makes sense that Hughes would do similar for Hutson because he's clearly figures in as a key part of this team moving forward. So just like the previous 3 core players I mentioned. So I just don't see Hughes playing that hard of a ball with Hutson. And if you're going to pay Dobson as much money as you did, then you need to, in my opinion, kind of entertain the notion that you're going to give him the same amount of money or around that amount. So in my opinion, I'd be shocked if Hutson came under 9, and I'd be looking more closely at a potential cap at $9.5 million like Dobson.
Yeah, I think that's probably where the benchmark will be, and he'll probably get paid around there. I think that's probably what'll happen too. All All right. Let's finish off with just. Were you any surprised of any cuts that happened during training camp? I mean, I know Sammy Blais got on waivers. He was picked up by the Maple Leafs, which he might be playing against them right away. Had a pretty good training camp. He had very good season in the AHL. Were there any other surprises, either cuts or even guys that you thought may have should have made the team?
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm disappointed, if anything, that Owen Beck didn't make the team, because I feel like it was a really good opportunity to integrate him and get some games under his belt, and have him ready to help the team contend next year or soon thereafter. But Oliver Kapanen had the inside track, in my opinion, based on the fact that he had played in playoff games last season, if memory serves, and had played like a handful of games in the regular season. So it seems like while I do believe Beck has the faith of the coaching staff, I think Kapanen does to a greater extent. And if they were only going to keep one of those centers, Kapanen was probably it. I also, relative to Blais, I personally always saw him as someone for whom there was no room. And technically there is room, in the sense that the Canadiens are going with a 22-man roster.
Yeah.
But even then, I would have preferred Beck over Blais. And if they were going to demote Beck, they're going to waive Blais, just because like he played all of last season in the AHL, and that's not to disparage his capability, because he had a very good AHL season. I just don't think that the Canadiens necessarily needed his level of physicality when they didn't re-sign Michael Pezzetta. And if anything, Blais was going to play, was effectively, in my opinion, signed to replace Pezzetta. And Pezzetta only played 25 games last year. So if they weren't going to re-sign Pezzetta and play him, I don't think they were going to really play Blais all that often. In my opinion, the signing was, and this is just speculation on my part, I don't have any inside information, but logically, I feel like there was a lot of criticism directed towards the Canadiens after they lost the Capitals, and much of that criticism was surrounding a supposed lack of physicality and a narrative that the Capitals out-muscled and had their way with them for their 5-game series. The Canadiens actually out-hit the Capitals in that series, and they were in every game except the deciding Game 5, in which they lost by a couple of goals. I don't really see it as an issue. I think with like the likes of Jack-Eye and Josh Anderson in this lineup, Blais would have just been an excessive addition, that like a redundancy, all due respect to him, because he is skilled and he doesn't know how to play hockey. Just I don't feel like he could have contributed like the Canadiens needed when they really need high-end skill.
For sure. And I mean, it's funny because the Maple Leafs sent down Pezzetta, and now they have Blais. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see how it all played out. And we'll see how long Blais does stay with the Maple Leafs. I mean, he does have that connection with Berube, which could have been a reason why they've claimed him. But we'll see how that goes. That's my Maple Leafs thing, though. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play against the Maple Leafs in their first game. And right away, of course, they always play against them, it seems, to start a season. But thanks, Ryan, for coming on and talking Canadiens as the season begins. And they're going to be playing 2 games really quickly in succession. So back-to-back to start a season. So I'm probably going to see both goalies really quickly here. So thanks, Ryan, for coming on. And we'll keep touching base with you throughout the season as we keep up to date with the Canadiens.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, make sure to check out everything at thehockeyreds.com. We got great preview content. We've got lots of fun stuff going on throughout the season. We have recaps, our normal takeaways, all that, those features throughout the season. But make sure to check all that out, our Substacks as well. But until our next News and Rumors video, we will see you next time.